The number one question I get on my social media is, how can I get bigger?
Wow, we sure do have something in common. I also have the number one question asked is, how do I get bigger? More jack, bigger biceps. Not usually the downstairs, but hey, we have something in common. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going over scientifically proven ways to increase penile length. That's right, that's what we're doing today. And you're probably thinking, well, what would I know about this? Well, obviously, the size of my eggplant's gotta be super tiny because I'm a bodybuilder. I must have a Neapolitan complex. That's why I work out, to get big muscles to compensate for my downstairs. Everyone knows that. Well, not everyone, but most people know that this is confirmed true.
And I'm being sarcastic.
And so I typed in penile length, and this woman, Rena Malik, shows up everywhere. Apparently, she's the expert of the world. Every video on my screen has her face. So now that you know that all bodybuilders have small eggplants, we're gonna go and look, how can we actually make it bigger?
The number one question I get on my social media is, how can I get bigger?
Wow, we sure do have something in common. I also have the number one question asked is, how do I get bigger? More jack, bigger biceps. Not usually the downstairs, but hey, we have something in common.
How can I get longer, or how can I get more girth?
Well, aside from getting harder than last time, which obviously as it grows is gonna get longer, is there anything you can actually do to increase the length of your eggplant?
They did a survey of 50,000 heterosexual men, and what they found was that 55% of them were unhappy with the way their penis looked.
So first things first, 55%, more than half of guys are unsatisfied with the size of their private area. But their partners, 85% are happy with it. So what does that mean? Well, it means that a lot of guys want their private area to be bigger when their partners don't. So stop worrying.
There's a lot of issues with that because pornography has really blurred the lines of what exactly is normal.
Exactly. It's porn that's warping our minds. You look at porn, picture after porn shot, video after video, with guys with huge private areas. Huge, bigger than last time. And you're thinking, well, mine's not that big. I must be small. It is no different than looking at Mr. Olympia competitors, bodybuilders who are jacked and thinking, oh, my muscles aren't that big, because look at those people. You're comparing yourself to freaks. Why are you comparing yourself to freaks? Why don't you just ask your partner, you like this or do you not like this? Why are you looking at porn and saying, I want that? Doesn't make sense. Really think about it. Does it make sense to compare yourself to other people?
Approximately the average penile length is about 5.2 inches or 13.2 centimeters.
So the average schlong is 5.2 inches. That's average. That means that half the people are bigger than that and half are smaller. So if you're 5.2 inches, well, you're about average now, aren't you?
And it's normal for penile length to be within 2.5 standard deviations of that.
Well, okay, first of all, people don't know what a standard deviation is. All it is a mathematical term saying, how close to the average, the middle are you? So 68% of people are within one standard deviation of the mean. So 68% of people are gonna be a little bit bigger than 5.2 and a little bit smaller than 5.2. Two standard deviations, that's 95% of people. It's most people. Most people are going to be moderately bigger than 5.2 and moderately smaller than 5.2. What about 2.5, 3 standard deviations? Well, 3 standard deviations from the mean, 99.7% of people are within 3. So 2.5, probably 99% of people. So she's saying it's normal to be within 99% of people. So 1 person out of 100 is not going to be normal. Kind of goes without saying, and it doesn't really mean anything. No one really cares about that.
What's considered abnormal in terms of length being too short would be anything less than 2.9 inches.
So she's saying if you're under 2.9 inches, well, then you're abnormally small and you're unlucky. It sucks. But only 0.14% of people are that small. That's about 1 in 400 people. So 1 in 400 people picked the wrong friggin' parents, or they had some kind of disease problem that affected them. It sucks, and we get it. And for these people, we can understand why they're upset and why they would want it to be bigger. But if you're of normal length, why are you complaining? It would be like being 15% body fat and being like, oh, poor me, I don't have a shredded six-pack. So, you don't need a shredded six-pack. Not everyone wants a shredded six-pack. Some people do. Someone wants 5% body fat. In the same way, some people want 12 inches. Something wrong with those people, probably. But some do. They do.
The true issue is that a significant portion of men can have distress related to the idea that their penis is not as long as they desire.
Newsflash, a lot of people are dissatisfied with their bodies to the point of having dysmorphia. In my realm, in my world, it's usually the size of their muscles or being too shredded. In her world, it's being too small in the downstairs. It's an irrational fear that shouldn't exist. But does that mean you need to make it bigger? Does that mean you need to make it bigger and do everything and anything to increase its length? To go and do dangerous things to try to be bigger in order to impress other people that are already impressed. They're already happy and satisfied. It would be the same thing like taking PDs because you think your biceps are too small when they're already plenty big and your partner loves them. Do you see how it can be irrational?
And this is a form of body dysmorphic disorder. Actually has a term. It's called small penis anxiety. They spend over 1 hour a day thinking about this.
Imagine spending over 1 hour a day thinking about these things. It sucks. But guess what? In the muscle world, a lot of people are worried about how big their chests are, their arms, and so on. And even your height. Do you know how many people call me a manlet? I don't care, but if you're told this over and over again, being put down, made fun of all the time, eventually you might develop an irrational thought that, hey, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I don't have enough muscle, I'm not good looking enough, my nose is too big, I don't like my lips, and so on. It's never ending because you're trying to meet unrealistic expectations of what you're supposed to look like.
If you Google, how am I going to make my penis longer, you'll be inundated with tons and tons of websites and information that may or may not be reputable.
Does that not sound like what it's like for me every day? People posting bullshit about how to build muscle, lose fat. Oh, calories in, calories out doesn't work. This and that, this and that. Non-stop bullshit information. Same as increasing penile length. So it's good we have a urologist that's like a doctor that knows about this stuff that's actually going to give you real information. Not bullshit, real scientific information. So let's see what she says.
Look for a reputable urologist, psychologist to help you with these issues.
And I like the fact that she says maybe you need to speak to a psychologist. The physical could be perfect. Everything is 100% how it should be. It's the mind that's not. Maybe you need to work out your irrational fears with a counselor or psychologist. Talk it over. Maybe after thinking about it, you can make mental changes and you'll no longer have this issue.
Interestingly, when you look at people who've undergone just psychological counseling and nothing else, the large majority of men no longer want to look for any other treatment.
And the good news is most people, once they do this, they're better. So think of it. Why would you want to get surgery or do some kind of physical changes if you can just work on the mental component and be cured?
There are 3 other non-surgical options.
The next step is non-surgical methods. She goes through 3 of them. We're going to go over each one and see which work and which don't.
And penile extenders are essentially a device that has a hole in which you put the penis, as well as 2 metal rods on either side, and then a silicone circle at the end to hold the glands in place.
So if you use this device daily for multiple hours a day, the end result after months and months of use is 2 centimeters or under 1 inch increase in length. So if that does sound worth it to you, then well, hey, do what you gotta do.
Vacuum erection devices specifically did not increase penile length at all. And lastly, penile injections, many of them have had devastating complications.
And of the other 2, the vacuum pump possibly increases girth but not length, and the penile injection, very dangerous. And these devices can cause complications, numbness, bruising, swelling, whatever. Things I don't want to experience.
One of the most common ones is a suspensory ligament incision. And what that is the penis is held to the pubic bone, which is the bone right in front of your penis, by a ligament.
So if you're wondering what that suspensory ligament thing is, it's like You know how you walk around the bathroom with a towel on and you're naked and the towel's still there? Well, imagine cutting that and then it's more like down a bit and then it just flops out a bit more. So if you want that to happen, if it's worth it, well, hey, talk to your doctor. Maybe it's worth it for you. But if you don't, I still say you should probably go back to the counseling part so that you can work on why you're so worried about how big it is. Unless it's 2.9 or smaller and the 0.14% of people that you said, the 1 in 400, well then, hey, don't know what to tell you.
Bottom line, there's not a lot you can do to change the length that you are given. However, there are many other things that are currently under investigation and are not recommended for routine care.
And she's not going to do this, but I'm going to bring it up. Or you could find a different partner that doesn't give a shit about how big it is and loves you for you. If it matters that much that you're spending over an hour a day thinking about it, even to the point of wanting to commit suicide, is it worth it? Who the heck are you with? Get a different partner that loves you for you. If it's 5.2 inches, 2.9 inches, 0.90, find someone that loves you for you. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch the bloopers. Harder than last time supplements. I can't even say it without thinking about... Anyway, Harder Than Last Time supplements will in fact come out just to help you get harder than last time. That's on the way. But you can get those, the cookbooks, training books, coaching advice by my team. And until next time, I'm out.